jump into the tunes here, the first tune we're going to work on is Turkey in the Straw. This is one of the first tunes I learned when I was a kid. And it's a classic fiddle tune. And I guess what I'll do is just jump right in. I'm going to play it all the way through. It's the tune is, and most of these fiddle tunes they have A parts and B parts. Some tunes have C parts and D parts, but everything we're going to work on here, most of the stuff has an A and a B part. And if you look at the tab, there's the tab that's downloadable there. It's an A part that repeats and a B part that repeats. And so most of these fiddle tunes will be A, B, B form. That's what we're going to call this. So here's Turkey in the Straw, and also you'll notice that you have different backing tracks that you can download. And what that is 4 different beats per minute. I've recorded backing tracks at different tempos to challenge. I don't suggest that someone at the basic level jump into the higher tempos if you're still building technique. But hopefully at 65 beats a minute is where we're going to start. And that's the goal, is to be able to play Turkey in the Straw here at 65 beats a minute. And I'll show you what all that will sound like. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. That's the whole tune, 65 beats a minute. And so we'll jump right in here with this lesson with the A part. I'm going to continue to sort of reference my tab over here. It's the same piece of music that you're looking at, hopefully, at this point. And this is the Turkey in the Straw basic version. And so jumping into the A part, one of the reasons I chose this song, not just because it was one that I learned early on, we worked on all those scale forms, the major scale and the pentatonic scale. And this is where all this stuff starts making sense musically and applying itself, is that the A part of Turkey in the Straw is, and a lot of these tunes we're going to get into are based out of a G pentatonic scale. And so once again, if hopefully you've practiced those scale forms, and so these notes should fall fairly naturally within that scale form if you're familiar with it. So it starts with two beats of pickup notes in the 8th notes there. So is the first phrase, which so the challenge there is that string change right there from G to D. That's probably going to be the first thing that you're going to notice that's it's going to be tough to get smooth. And if you've just run scales, this is the next level beyond this of making these forms work musically. We discussed back in the early sort of getting the pick on the strings, just warming up with basic pick patterns, different 8th note patterns. You just want to, that's why I was encouraging earlier, just getting the pick around the strings and feeling, just getting used to having your pick, within the range of these strings, a muscle memory sort of a thing. So, and one of the concepts that's always a challenge for flat pickers is string changing and doing this, making those transition smoothly. There's a lot within flat picking is about smooth transitions, either within a phrase or within 2 different styles, rhythm to lead and back and forth. So the first transition we're going to hit here is string changing, and it's within the first bar we're going to jump right in. And as you practice this, I've got the rhythm there at 65 beats a minute, but you may set your metronome at 50. I'll encourage you to play a few bars of rhythm, get your hands loose, and then that's when you dive in. So I'll just play through the A part here really slowly. And one thing I'll point out at this point, we're halfway through. There's eighth notes. If you follow in the tab, you'll see where to put your fingers and what string to play. And following the standard notation above it shows you the eighth notes and the quarter notes. And traditional flat picking is, generally eighth note patterns. We talked about the dotted and straight eighths and the swung eighths and all that good stuff. And what that sets up within a 4-beat bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's this goes back to some of the early lessons that we had of just getting the pick moving with those kind of patterns. And so, in playing a tune like this, you notice that there's some quarter notes. And so what happens when we discussed hammer-ons and pull-offs, notice I showed you in that slide exercise, if you can go reference that, when I played all those notes, it sounded kind of choppy, but using the left hand and using tools to sort of smooth out flat picking leads to more of a rhythmic picking hand. And so what happens when we hit those third bar, we hit 2 quarter notes, or there's a quarter note there. But what the point I'll make on third bar is those 2 in a row right there. They're all going to be downstrokes because the eighth note thing is generally up, down, down, up, down, up. Starts with a down, up usually. Sometimes it's up, down, but it's an alternate picking thing. So because there's 2 quarter notes in a row, we don't necessarily go down, up, down. When you see 2 quarter notes in a row like that, or 3, the concept of the rhythmic right hand is that it stays fairly loose all the time when you're playing. If you subconsciously take effort to try to maintain a certain picking pattern, even though it breaks the eighth note, the tendency here, that's when a lot of tensions kind of can creep in, because you're breaking the natural sense of what your right hand wants to do. And this is another reason why I encourage playing a few bars of rhythm before you jump into something like this, because you really want to sort of be able to be aware of what it feels like when there are changes like that. So what we're trying to set up is a rhythmic sense of how to play these things. And when you're really communicating music, that's ultimately what people feel is your sort of the sense of groove and what we call the pocket of how you play. So when you hit those quarter notes, just make those downstrokes. But you'll see as I come play the bar before it, my right hand continues to move in rhythm as though it's still, you shouldn't really notice really much of a change. Here we go. So I played those 2 quarter notes, but my right hand kept on moving because my goal is to stay loose. I don't want to, just because it's 2 quarter notes in a row, if I suddenly tried to sort of clamp things down, I feel all this tension in my forearm. And if you were to do that, you would probably do the same thing. So anyway, here we go. From that third bar, more quarter notes, back into the eighth note thing. The same phrase as the first one, and then we jump up here. And then 3 quarter notes in a row, which will be 3 downstrokes. And then we take the repeat sign, it's the same pickup notes, first ending, and then other than the C note in this, which comes out of the G major scale, all these notes in this A part of Turkey in the Straw are built around the G pentatonic. So there's your G pentatonic scale. Just the way we learned it a little while ago. We're taking, what we wanted to do was create strength and create muscle memory. to where when we start playing these tunes, you know, your hands hopefully will already know where to go, or at least have an idea of what the pattern is, and so there's not a lot of searching around. So so that's the A part of Turkey in the Straw, and we'll move on to the B part next.